Hi everyone! Today, I'm bringing you news that has shaken the entertainment world, with Khan Yaman and his personal life at the center. After his breakup with Sara was confirmed, the actor spoke for the first time, and he did it without sugarcoating anything. His sentence was direct and forceful. Sara is no longer in my life. He left no room for interpretation, second chances, or ambiguous messages. It was a clean cut, almost as if he wanted to erase the past in one stroke and draw a very clear line for what comes next. Why did it hit so hard? Because Khan Yaman didn't try to soften anything. He didn't apologize. He didn't use pretty words. He didn't hide behind euphemisms. On the contrary, he stood firm and shut the door on any rumors about a possible reconciliation. Many read it as a way of taking back control of his story and his public image. The press, as expected, split into two sides. Some believe his words come from a deep wound, from anger or disappointment. Others think it's a cold but necessary decision to leave behind what weighs on him and focus completely on his own path. There's also another, more intimate interpretation going around. People close to the actor say this message could be a reaction to Sara's persistent attitudes, or to dynamics he was no longer willing to tolerate. In that sense, he wouldn't just be protecting his emotional space, but also shielding his private life from media noise. Another big question is what Sara will do now. Some experts think she might respond, almost pushed by the impact of the announcement. Others say the phrase was so sharp and distant that any reply would be pointless. Her silence, if it continues, could even strengthen Khan's position further. And here's the most important part. This isn't just a romantic goodbye. Many see it as a new personal chapter for Khan Yaman. A phase of chosen solitude, inner rebuilding, calm, and above all, growth. The idea is clear: not letting a failed relationship interfere with his career or well-being. Social media exploded. His followers reacted with shock, yes, but also with admiration. For many, those words were a show of strength. The past is behind me, and now I'm in control. Some even believe this verbal blow to Sara could be devastating because it turns her literally into a shadow of the past. In short, with a single sentence, Khan Yaman closed a chapter in a radical and public way. He didn't just end a relationship. He made it clear he wants to write his story on his own terms, without drama or outside pressure. Now everyone is asking, what will this new single life look like? What decisions will he make from here on? The only sure thing is that Khan Yaman has taken a firm step forward, and he doesn't plan to look back. What I feel when I look at everything surrounding Demet Özdemir in this story is a strange mix of exhaustion and clarity. Exhaustion because the topic has become an endless soap opera that no longer even seems to be about real people. And clarity because, once I filter out the noise, I see a fairly clear pattern. Demet is at the center of attention, but not necessarily because of who she is, rather because of what she provokes. And to me, that says a lot about how her image has been handled lately. It seems to me she plays on a field where spectacle weighs more than feelings. I don't say this as a moral insult, but as an intuition. Too many scenes, too many twists, too much need to keep people watching. There are comments talking about marketing and strategy, and I can't help thinking the same. This story keeps stretching as if someone needs the attention not to fade. And in that sense, Demet gives me the impression of knowing perfectly how the mechanism works. When to stay silent, when to appear, when to let mystery do the work for her. That can be media intelligence, yes, but it also turns everything into theater. Another point I can't ignore is the sense of a huge ego many people perceive in her. I don't know if it's ego or just self-assertion, but there's a strong me-first energy that in such an exposed relationship clashes with any attempt to build something stable. Sometimes I feel Demet doesn't want to be anyone's partner in the classic sense, not because she can't love, but because her center of gravity is elsewhere. Her career, her space, her freedom. And if that's the case, fine. But then I don't understand why keep feeding a romantic narrative with no solid base. That's where the contradiction starts for me. There's also the issue of priorities. I think a lot about what someone commented, that she might remember from time to time that she has a small child. I don't take that as an attack on Demet's motherhood. I'm not one to judge that. But as a reminder that her life has real layers that don't fit well with constant melodrama, having a child changes pace, decisions, and bonds. And I believe that if she's in a life moment where she can't or doesn't want to sustain a continuous relationship, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is pretending she can or letting the public believe it while privately the story falls apart. That's why I understand people being fed up, not only with the media mud, but with the impression that everything revolves around someone who absorbs visibility without giving truth back. There are very harsh, even cruel comments about her, and I don't buy into that gratuitous malice. But I do recognize the root of the anger. When someone seems to use their bond with another person to reinforce the spotlight, the public senses it. And to me, it seems that Demet, consciously or not, has been linked to that idea of being there so the camera doesn't turn off. Still, I can't see her as a simple villain. I think Demet is more complex. Possibly, she's a woman who has learned to survive in a world where the public narrative devours you if you don't control it yourself. Maybe that's why her moves seem cold, because she learned to protect herself with distance, strategy, and ambiguity. People sometimes mistake that armor for a lack of courage or feelings, but I see more self-preservation than malice. The problem is that in that self-preservation, others can end up being used like pieces on a board. And that's where the human part hurts me. Because if the story with Can was real, even only at times, I feel Demet didn't know, or didn't want, to protect the balance. And if it was fiction from the start, then it seems even worse to have let it grow into a circus. Either way, I sense a lack of emotional responsibility toward those involved, toward Khan, and also toward the audience that genuinely invests their hearts in these stories. Ultimately, my opinion about Demet Özdemir is uncomfortable but honest. I see her as someone very skilled at keeping herself in the center, maybe too skilled. I see independence, character, ambition, but also a tendency to let the show swallow the truth. I'd like to see her outside that wheel of permanent dramatization, because I think her real talent gets buried under the foam. If she wants to be alone, let her be alone without selling romance. If she wants to love, let her do it without a script. I don't need Demet to be perfect. I just want her to be clearer with herself and with others. Because when everything looks like strategy, what gets lost in the end is the simplest thing: trust.